and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2022-23 season, and it's time for the second to last team selection video of this season, this time for Game Week 37, where we're going to have a look at our Game Week 36 scores, our team selection for Game Week 37, as well as transfers and captaincy, guys. So if you do enjoy this one, please do drop a like, do subscribe if you are new around here. Let's get started. If you're looking for the best pick in web safety and anonymity this game week, then how about our mates over at Surfshark, a VPN service that keeps your identity safe online. It's basically like installing Luke Shaw to your PC or mobile phone, but not only this, Surfshark allows you to browse the internet as if you are in a different country. If you don't have access to certain football channels and networks in your country, no problem, set your location to somewhere else using Surfshark and you can now access it. Maybe you want to watch Match of the Day or Sky Go from vacation and it's not working, or you're getting that annoying "this content is unavailable in your country" message. Just because you're playing away, it doesn't mean your internet needs to be. But here is my favourite part. If you've watched all of the best series on Netflix and you want to unlock all the content on USA Netflix, for example, you can easily do so. You can switch countries faster than you can switch single game week players out of your FPL team. Protect your identity, be safe online, and access web content from around the world wherever you are. And you can now get 3 months extra for free. Just use promo code FPLMate, all one word, to get this offer. Or you can simply click the link in my description. It really helps out the channel and you get a great service for a heavily discounted price. And if you somehow don't like it, there's also a 30-day money-back guarantee, so everybody wins. Okay, so first of all, let's have a look at our Game Week 36 scores, and it was a good week indeed for me. 122 points, that's increased my rank from 92,000 all the way up to 52,000, so the goal of top 50k is still very, very much on with 2 game weeks left to play. The comeback has happened, guys. I am so pleased. You know, it just shows that you never give up in FPL, even if your start to the season is really, really bad. There's no way you can't recover it with a few differentials here and there and some smart moves. And I feel like I did get a little bit fortunate that Wilson outscored Isak by so much, but it was a punt I was willing to take as a chaser, as someone who likes to go for someone a little bit different. If I have true faith in them, it definitely worked out maybe a little bit more than I was expecting though, so I'll take the luck on that one. And just guys, if you were an Isak captainer, I don't want you to beat yourself up too much, just because a lot of the people that were going for Wilson are the slightly more crazy managers, or are maybe some of the managers who were slightly lower ranked anyway. If you were fortunate enough to be captaining Isak, it's probably because you were doing quite well anyway and you weren't looking to chase. But anyway, we'll move on. We've got Pervis Stupinian, absolutely insane first game for him. Trent Trippier coming in clutch indeed. A couple of disappointments in the team. Botman not really performing. Martinelli getting injured very early in that game against Brighton for Arsenal there. So that kind of differential did not pay off at all for me. And we have got Ollie Watkins and Luke Shaw's points on the bench as well. But overall, no complaints here. Like I say, the comeback is back on. We need to figure out how we are going to burst into the top 50k. Hopefully we're going to do that straight away in Game Week 37. Let me show you how I plan to do that. Alright guys, so 2.8 million in the bank, 1 free transfer, so we've got a little bit of wiggle room. We've got a plan for this game week and make sure we're sorted for next game week as well, Game Week 38. And then that's it. So let's start off in goal with Edison. So Edison plays against Chelsea and Brighton in this double game week for Man City. And if I'm totally honest with you guys, I do think there is real potential for Edison to be rotated in that second game. I expect him to play against Chelsea. This is the final game for Man City to try and win the Premier League. They can do it on this weekend against Chelsea. So maybe they're going to do that. Edison should start in that game. But if the Premier League title is secured by Man City, that does mean that potentially we may see rotation among goalkeepers in that second fixture. I could see Ortega or Carson coming in for that second game, and then probably Edison back in to start to get that rhythm for the final game of the season before the FA Cup, and then of course the Champions League final as well for Man City. So yeah, first game I think we're going to have a pretty strong Man City team. Second game I am not so convinced by that one. So Edison, therefore, I think he's going to be okay for Chelsea. After that, I am not totally convinced. But there is a chance he plays both games, and if he does, clean sheets may be on the cards. We've seen Edison get a few clean sheets recently, which is very, very good. Into defence, we've got Trent Alexander-Arnold, a player who is on absolute flames at the moment. He is on fire, getting assists, getting clean sheets, doing really, really well. Hoovering up some of those bonus points as well, which is pretty nice. So Trent, definitely a player that you want to be owning at the moment. Although, I have to say, if you don't have him already, maybe it's a little bit late to go in on him. Maybe there's some other players we could be looking at. But that Southampton game on the final day of the season is certainly looking pretty tempting for Trent as well. But hopefully more of the same, more clean sheets, sheets for Liverpool. They seem to have sorted out their defence. Trent moving into a more of a midfield position allows him to be freed up, be a little bit more creative, take shots on there, take some set pieces. Everything is very, very good. We've got Luke Shaw, a player I wish I played in Game Week 36, but it wasn't to be. But he has got this amazing double game week against Bournemouth and Chelsea. Shaw, really, really nice and nailed on here, which I really, really like. I think there's clean sheets coming because Manchester United have been doing quite well for clean sheets. And both of these fixtures, you think there are games in which Man United can keep clean sheets in them. Of course, Manchester United need 2 wins to guarantee themselves a top 4 position. They'll be hoping to do that across this double game week. So again, I expect a very strong team for Manchester United in both games. No rotation whatsoever other than maybe injury problems. But aside from that, it's going to be a very, very strong lineup. Luke Shaw playing on the left side of the defence now, getting forward a little bit more, taking those set pieces. There's going to be more FPL points for Luke Shaw, particularly attacking returns in the near future. I can feel it. And Per versus Stupinian, well, we know about his attacking returns recently, don't we? This Southampton game at home in particular, I really, really like the look of this. Southampton already relegated. Brighton, maybe a little bit of a point to prove after a loss yesterday against Newcastle, but they will be back with a bang. We know how attacking Stupinian can be, so you're always going to get those attacking returns from him, or at least the potential for those attacking returns. Honestly, guys, the 17-pointer from last game week was a long time coming from him. He's been racking up XG and XA for so long. It's no surprise to see him with the points, but yeah, let's see if he gets more against Southampton. Man City game, however, is an interesting one because Man City could be playing a significantly weaker team, like I kind of mentioned in that second game. So we've got basically a Brighton team against Southampton who are already relegated, and potentially a game against Man City who have already won the league. Opposite ends of the spectrum, but 2 reasons why they won't necessarily be the hardest games in the world at this stage of the season. So overall, I quite like our Brighton assets. We've got Fernandes in midfield. Again, Bournemouth and Chelsea, 2 fantastic games, 2 must-win games. We're expecting 180 minutes from Fernandes. That's very, very good indeed. Fernandes has incredible underlying numbers at the moment and has been really unlucky not to get more FPL returns recently. But over the course of a double game week, you get more chances for your luck to come in. Penalties as well. When was the last time Bruno Fernandes had a penalty? I would love to get one of them. That would be really, really helpful, wouldn't it? But yeah, genuinely feel like Fernandes could be one of the best players to own for this game week. Fantasy Football Hub actually predicts Fernandes. He's got the highest predicted points of any player in Game Week 37. So that is how highly he is rated for this game week. So great fixtures, a player in fantastic form. If he can continue, well, maybe try and convert those, you know, the good form, the shots, the creativity into a few more FPL returns, we could be looking at a monster haul from Fernandes. Next up, Marcus Rashford, who is a little bit interesting because although he has been training, full training all week, so he's training absolutely fine at the moment, we have got a little issue. And that is that Marcus Rashford was, well, called in sick to work today, pretty much. So, yeah, he is apparently ill today, and we're not sure if he's going to be feeling better or not for tomorrow. I would suspect that given how crucial these games are, a little bit of illness is not going to, deter Rashford from playing in these games. Rashford usually plays, even if he is, I've said this before, if Rashford is 10% ready to play, he will 100% play. That's just kind of the situation with Rashford, given how important these games are as well. That is doubled, 200% starting if he is at all available. However, I'm hoping what we'll have tomorrow is news around the travelling squad. So if we find out Rashford has travelled to Bournemouth for the game, then we're going to have a good idea of whether he's going to be playing or not. If he's travelled, he's probably going to play. If he is too ill to travel, then he's too ill to play. So that's probably going to be the situation there. Wait and see, I guess, on him, but I'm feeling reasonably confident at this point that he will play. Not 100%. Nowhere near 100%, but, like 75, 80% sure that he will play in the first game against Bournemouth. If not, he's nailed on for that Chelsea game. We've got Kaoru Mitoma, a few disappointing results from him recently. Southampton at home, though, it's a really good fixture. So I do feel like that is going to be a huge advantage for your Brighton attackers, with the fact that they do have this fixture that is super, super good. And then the second game in the game week, obviously Man City not promoted either, won the Premier League potentially there. It's interesting. The problem is with Brighton at the moment is that their attacking returns seem to be so split among so many different players that it's hard to nail down exactly who is going to be getting the attacking returns. But at the same time, with your Brighton midfielders, you're expecting them to play both games, probably, hopefully. That's kind of 4 points there already. Get a clean sheet in one of the games, we're looking at 5 points. That's not such a bad kind of score already before any attacking returns. But Calvin Mittermeier is always dangerous. You know, he's always a player who could pop up and score some FPL points. So fingers crossed that can happen. And we've got Alexis McAllister, who I'm a little bit more confident in, actually, just because he had his rest last game. He didn't start last night against Newcastle, which I think is going to mean that he's going to play every game for the rest of the season. Now he's had that rest. He's ready to go for the remaining games. And, you know, you could tell that the Brighton kind of needed McAllister yesterday as well. Like, he is probably their best player at the moment. Maybe some of you guys might be arguing with that one, but I think he's up there for sure. On penalties as well, on some set pieces, which is really good. And he's playing in a slightly more advanced attacking midfield position once again, which is where we like to see him. So he is going to get chances to shoot. He is going to get chances to score against Southampton. If Brighton can get a few goals in this game, you imagine that McAllister will be involved in them in some capacity. Up front, we've got Erling Haaland against Chelsea and Brighton. I think Chelsea game, he is nailed on to start. I think he will play and probably do pretty well, knowing how Chelsea have kind of collapsed a little bit, haven't they, this season? Maybe that's a bit of an understatement, but Chelsea aren't even really looking like a particularly good defence anymore, which is quite concerning for them. Man City have, you know, spoken a lot recently about how confident they're feeling when playing at home at the Etihad. So Erling Haaland playing at the Etihad could be a really, really significant one, even against Chelsea alone. Now, the Brighton game, we may see rotation. I could potentially see Álvarez coming in to play up front in that game. We kind of know already that the Brighton game is the biggest rotation risk for all of our Man City players, and it's going to be difficult to kind of pick out those players who are going to play in that second game. It's really, really difficult to call, let me tell you that. But against Chelsea, maybe that's going to be enough. Could we get 45 minutes against Brighton there as well? Potentially. We know Pep likes to keep rhythm going for his players, but we have got one more game, Brentford, after that as well, so maybe that's going to be more of the rhythm game. It's a bit of a mystery, but never doubt Erling Haaland against Chelsea, even in a single game week. You probably still back him, wouldn't you? We've got Ollie Watkins against Liverpool, and I'm kind of playing him because I don't really have too much of a choice. Liverpool, like I say, have actually improved defensively recently, so that does concern me just a little bit. Ollie Watkins' form is also really, really down. He's not getting as many chances to score. He's not scoring pretty much at all at the moment for like a month now. Hasn't got a single goal. Even his assist last game week was a little bit lucky with the kind of the free kick assist. So, yeah, I don't know how I feel about this one, to be honest. And maybe Watkins is a player that I probably should have already removed, and he's somehow still in my team. And we're going to finish off the attack here with Callum Wilson, who plays against Leicester at home after a fantastic double game week. Now, this is the crazy thing. Isak was probably a player who most people preferred because he's more safe, right? Have things changed? Newcastle need one more win, and they have an opportunity to get that one more win against Leicester at home, and they've got Callum Wilson, who has been in ridiculously good form recently. Is there really any chance that Wilson is benched in this game? Well, minutes suggest yes, but if you are resting Callum Wilson, what are you resting him for? This is the game to clinch top 4. This is the game to clinch UCL Champions League games. So why wouldn't he play? Why wouldn't he start down the middle on those penalties, getting all the chances to score? I'm not saying that Isak won't start, but I certainly feel like if you had to start one of these two players into the striker position at the moment, given everything, all things you could consider, it's probably going to be Wilson, and it's against Leicester. Leicester have been so bad defensively recently, and Newcastle have been so good in attack recently. This could be another bloodbath. This really could. I'm feeling actually really good about having Callum Wilson against Leicester in this fixture. I think it's a really, really good one. Obviously, there's always a chance that he does get rested in this game, but why would he? Why would, put yourself in Eddie Howe's shoes. There's no way you're benching Callum Wilson on current form. Isak is a more of a difficult one. Is he going to play in the wing? Could we see Alan Maximan maybe come in on the wing? We know Joelinton's not going to be playing there because of all of the injuries in midfield for Newcastle at the moment. But, yeah, Wilson just seems to be the guy at the moment. He really does. So, yeah, I like this one a lot. Onto the bench, guys. We've got Kepa. I think his time is potentially done at Chelsea. We know Frank Lampard does prefer Mendy, and even though Mendy had a bit of a howler in game week 36, I'm not really sure Kepa is going to be coming back in for 2 fixtures in the double game week. I think Ederson has a better minutes chance than Kepa. Could make a goalkeeper transfer here, but I'm not really sure it's worth it. Goalkeepers typically don't score a huge amount of points, and if we're looking to make the big gains in a very short period of time, goalkeeper transfers are probably not the way to go. So I'm just going to play Ederson over Kepa and cross my fingers and hope that he plays both games. Wouldn't be totally surprised if he didn't, but it also wouldn't be the end of the world if he didn't, because, you know, one game is fine. I mean, what are the alternatives? Kepa is the other double game week goalkeeper that I possibly could go for, because I've already tripled up on Brighton and Man United, and he's no more nailed than Ederson. So Ederson's probably still the best case scenario that I can go for, and I do back Man City to keep a clean sheet against Chelsea. I really do. We've got Trippier, potential injury problem here. We're not sure if he's going to be available for this game, so he has gone to the bench currently, but maybe that could change if he is available. Like I say, I like this Leicester fixture, but what I don't like is Newcastle's inability to keep a clean sheet, which is why Botman is also firmly on the bench here. And Martinelli, unfortunate news today, now confirming that Martinelli is out for the rest of the season. So there'll be no more Martinelli for the rest of our days for this season, unfortunately, which is a shame, because I really did like him as a differential. I like him as a player as well, and some people say I look a bit like him as well. But aside from that, I feel like, you know, Martinelli is an issue that I'm definitely going to have to deal with before the end of the season, because otherwise he's just wasting one of my midfield slots. There's quite a little bit of budget in him, 6.7 million he is at the moment, so maybe we do need to remove him. So with that in mind, let's have a think about some transfer moves that we can make for game week 37. All right, so my first option is roll the transfer. Play Watkins or Trippier potentially there if he's fit. And the reason I like this move, well, the lack of move, I suppose, is to get that information, extra information for game week 38. Game week 38 is a crucial game week, because we are going to potentially get early team news from a lot of teams. We're going to have a really good idea of which teams have a lot to play for, which teams do not have anything to play for, could play weakened team, weakened squads, or, you know, just get bad results. We often see a lot of goals in game week 38 as well. So the more, you know, kind of flexibility you can have for game week 38, the better. So I definitely do think if you can afford to roll a transfer this week, it is something 100% worth considering, at least worth considering. It does seem a little bit boring though. So we could do Martinelli to Mahrez, and obviously Mahrez with double game week is a high upside double game week punt. Are we sure he's going to play both fixtures? No, absolutely not. But outside of Erling Haaland, Mahrez is probably one of the players more likely to get 2 fixtures. I don't think Gundogan is going to play 2 games, for example. You know, Mahrez has not really played Champions League, so he's kind of been that Premier League guy. So I think he does maintain his position there. It helps me deal with this Martinelli injury issue as well. I can just get rid of Martinelli now and just have Mahrez there ready for the rest of the season. Even if Mahrez doesn't necessarily play in game week 36, you know, 180 minutes in game week 36, I feel like he is a pretty good shout for game week 38 as well. I feel like he could do quite well against Brentford there. So could cover me nicely for 2 game weeks. However, it does really limit my flexibility for game week 38, and that is something that I do want to keep open. I want to have that flexibility. I want to be able to make, you know, have the ability to make several different moves. I've already eyed up a couple of different moves that I'm thinking about making for game week 38. I want to have the flexibility to do that, and by upgrading Martinelli to Mahrez, it prevents me from doing that a little bit, because I'm using up extra budget. It could mean that I might have to transfer Mahrez out straight away again, because he is quite expensive if I want to make other moves. You know, you guys know I don't have Salah in my team, so how am I going to get Salah if I upgrade Martinelli to Mahrez? I'm going to have to then maybe upgrade Mahrez again to Salah, but then I'll need to make possibly multiple transfers elsewhere to free up even more budget, because I really wouldn't have very much in the bank after doing that. So if I want to get Salah, I actually do need to free up a little bit more money elsewhere in my team. And I can do that by making the move of Watkins to Álvarez. So this is kind of an interesting one. And Watkins to Álvarez really does give me a lot of flexibility. So first of all, obviously, it's another high upside punt for game week 37. Álvarez, I think he's going to play ahead of KDB against Chelsea, because KDB really did look quite knackered and potentially does need a rest against Chelsea. And Álvarez is a really, really decent replacement there. And if Erling Haaland is rested against Brighton in the second game, Álvarez is the other striker, right? So Álvarez would come in and play and start in that game. So I think there's actually a genuinely good chance for 2 starts for Álvarez, to be fair, which is quite nice. And even if not, you know you're probably going to get 1 start and 1 bench appearance. We know what he could do against, from the bench, scored against Real Madrid after coming on from the bench, so that's quite nice. Pretty high upside there. You know, his kind of points potential is comparable to Erling Haaland when he's playing in the striker position. And it also frees up, like I say, it frees up more money. It frees up an extra 1.2 million for me to put in my bank, which will give me 4 million in the bank for game week 38. Now, that's a lot of flexibility, and it allows me to do multiple moves. It allows me to upgrade Bruno Fernandes straight to Salah using 1 transfer if I want to. It allows me to upgrade Martinelli to Salah if I was willing to take a -4 in order to do that. It would allow me to, again, take another -4 to upgrade Kane to, it would allow me to upgrade potentially Álvarez. It would be a bit tight, but more likely Wilson up to Kane against Leeds on the final day of the season. That could be a potential option for me as well. It really gives me multiple options, primarily to get Salah and Kane into my team, which are the 2 superstars that I am missing from my team at the moment, who both of them I quite like to own for game week 38. And making this move, yes, it's using a transfer, but with a -4, it allows me to do pretty much anything I want to do in game week 38, and it gives me a player who I think has got a really good chance of decent returns in game week 37 as well in a double game week. So, yeah, let's have a look at how we're gonna use our transfers this week. So you guys probably guessed it by the way I was speaking positively and negatively about each transfer. But yes, Watkins to Álvarez is probably the right move for me. I know most people would probably go for the Martinelli to Mahrez move, but I do want to make sure I am thinking about game week 38, a very close eye on game week 38, and trying to give myself the flexibility to end the season very well, because it's going to be an interesting game week, that's for sure. Also, just like Álvarez, I don't think, Álvarez and Mahrez, I think they're my 2 favourite picks from Man City outside of Erling Haaland for this double game week. So yeah, I feel like it kind of works. And Álvarez, I'm very happy to go for. Very cheap, frees up money. Everything looks really, really good from here. And it gives me 9 double game week players. And I know, the likes of the Man City guys might not actually start in both games, but at least you have that opportunity, you have that chance. And the 2 single game week players I have are Trent Alexander-Arnold, who is in fantastic form playing against Aston Villa, and Callum Wilson in insane form playing against Leicester, and it really sets up my team really nicely. And although, yes, I am still missing Salah, that is going to be a continuous problem for my team, and unless I address it. There's not long left in the season, though, and I do feel like Callum Wilson and Trent, the points that we might get from these kind of players could potentially cover the points of Salah, so I'm not too worried this game week. Next game week against Southampton, particularly if Liverpool still have a good chance of finishing top 4, at that stage, maybe I am getting a little bit worried about Salah, but at least by making this transfer, I've left my options open to potentially make that move for game week 38. We need to do captaincy finally on this bad boy, so we're going to put the captain's armband on Erling Haaland, and we're going to put the vice-captain on Bruno Fernandes. These are my 2 favourite captains for the game week. Erling Haaland is your safe pick, Fernandes is your risky pick, but at this stage, I've made good ground recently, and I'm a big kind of believer of going for differentials when you are truly, truly confident that they'll score more points, and not really going with the crowd. I don't really like going with the crowd for the sake of it, as you probably saw with Wilson last game week, but in this instance, I don't think Fernandes is a much better captain than Erling Haaland. I don't have that confidence that Fernandes is, going to do so much better than Erling Haaland at all. So not only do I not particularly think Fernandes is particularly better than Erling Haaland this game week, but I also don't want to go against the masses, the crowds. So yeah, it's a difficult one, because I want to be different, of course. We all want to be different and go for something crazy, but we also have to put our sensible hats on a little bit and actually go with a player who we think is going to score more points. That's what captains are for, right? Picking the player you think is going to score more points. Now, for those of you guys who are really, really chasing, you are, maybe 20, 30 points behind your mini-league rivals, you really need to make some serious moves, to try and catch up, or, you're miles outside of your target rank, you just want to go all or nothing, then Fernandes is the captain for you. But for me, I don't think things are going badly enough that that I would have to go quite that crazy, and maybe game week 38 is the game week where I'll be making one final crazy captain move. I just don't think it's for me this game week. You've got to pick the right times to go differential, and I'm just not convinced this is the time. So there we go. There's my team looking, I think genuinely think it's looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy. I don't know what you guys think about it. Thanks so much for watching this video today, guys. If you did enjoy it, please do drop a like, do subscribe if you're new around here. And don't forget to check out Surfshark as well. Link in the description. Yeah, that's going to be it for videos this game week. But do make sure you go check out some of the other ones I uploaded this week. There's loads of content on there that I hope you're going to enjoy and find really, really useful. And aside from that, guys, I will see you tomorrow for a deadline stream for Game Week 37. And until then, I will see you later, mates. Bye-bye.